All right, we are going. So, Adam, I appreciate you being here and taking the time to share your experience with everybody. We've seen some massive changes and some really cool improvement through these last 6 weeks as you've gone through the 6 week accelerated transformation program. And I thought kind of getting you on here and sharing your experience would be really great for inspiring others to be able to do the same. But before we get into that, for people who don't know you, because you're not a household name yet, but you're on your way, I'd love to hear who you are, what you're doing, what are you pursuing?
Well, I'm Adam, like you said. Trying to make the tour. It's the goal. I've been a professional now for 2.5, 3 years. Playing the mini tour circuits, doing a bunch of Monday qualifiers. I went over to Europe this year to Portugal to do the European Tour qualifying and missed second stage where I won. Played really well. I live here in Oregon and just kind of working on my game every day, trying to get better, working on the mental side of everything, and just trying to make the tour and make my dream a reality.
I love it. And there's so many things that we can dive into here. One of the things you had mentioned the mental side of the game, which we both know is so important. And there's a moment that you and I had that really sticks with me, and I'm sure it resonates with you, which was a couple of weeks ago. We were playing some golf together, and I asked a fairly simple question that I think will resonate with a lot of people that I'd love to have your take on. But the question was, we have all these players that we look up to, and the guys like Rory's and Tigers and all these guys who are just dominating the world right now in the world of golf. And the question was, I think I asked you, if you were paired up with them, do you think you could beat them? And if I remember right, there was a little bit of a pause, and then a light bulb went off. And I think it was later that week or one of your very next rounds, you went out and shot like a 66 because you shifted that mindset. And I'd love to hear your perspective on what happened, what clicked, and how did that build momentum for your game?
Yeah, so that was an interesting conversation. I mean, I think a lot of people, they want to try to beat the tour guys. But my mindset switched to being more like, this is who I am, I'm going to win. Like, there's no one really better than me than myself. And I think that really helped switch my mindset to a mindset of where no one can beat me. And all I can do is do my routines and hit my shots and do my thing. And that's pretty much the only thing you can do to beat everybody. And just knowing that you're better and you're really good. I mean, if you look at those guys out there, which we've talked about, they think they're all better than everybody. And that's why they're there and why they're winning tournaments and playing on the PGA Tour.
I love it. Now, I think the layer here that you just touched on is that nobody is better than yourself, meaning to be in that mindset, it sounds like it's not just, I know I can beat them. It's more of, I believe in the work that I've been able to do and to the point that I've gotten, and I believe in my process. And if I just follow that process will beat them, right? Because we both know there's days that the ball is going to go in, there's days that the ball is not going to go in. But if you just keep following your process, playing your own game, there's going to be times where that lines up. So I want to hear a little bit about, what is Adam Ruben's process? What does that look like? How do you practice? How do you play? And how does mindset play a role in that?
Like on the golf course process or like everyday process?
Yes.
So the golf course process, a big part of my practicing now is more routine based, especially when I do my short game and putting and hitting balls. I always make sure I do the same routine before every shot, because I know if there's one thing I can make consistent out there, it's going to be my routine. Once I'm on the golf course, I do a system called Decade System, which helps you take out the big miss and really focus in on your target. Because for me, I'm a pretty big, I like to see imagery. I like to kind of visualize it. So with me, I have to really visualize myself walking off like 2 yards right at the pin, 2 yards left. And that really helps me get into the zone and into the shot. Off the golf course, I'm usually pretty routine oriented also. I go to the gym, usually run like a mile and a half before my workout, do my stretching, get a lot of workouts in. even before that, like when I wake up, you and I, we worked on a morning ritual, which is called the power warm up. I do that almost every single day for the most part. It takes like 5 minutes and just kind of gets my body warmed up, ready for the day. And at night, I even do the same thing. I have a thing called a hypervolt gun, which I use a lot of the time. Just kind of massage up my IT bands, my calves, my feet, my wrist, my shoulders, and do all that. And then I do the power warm up again at night, just to kind of get my body to calm down and just relax a little bit. It's almost like a meditative thing now for me. So a lot of every day, not just on the golf courses routine, just trying to make everything the same, try to eat healthy and make my body as ready and healthy as possible when it comes time to perform. And that kind of happens not just on the golf course, but off the golf course, and what you eat and what you do and how much time you take off and whatnot.
No, I love that. I mean, you and I, we got started before you even came into the 6-week program. We started just working on your mobility and range of motion, going through, I think we were introduced through a mutual friend, and you came in for a TPI assessment, and that just kind of opened up this whole new door. I'd love to hear from your perspective, what has changed mentally and physically, having incorporated more mobility training, more strength and conditioning training. I mean, obviously you just signed up for the 16-week strength and conditioning program to kind of just keep that momentum going. What does that do for you when you feel like you are mentally, physically, spiritually just aligned and giving it your all?
It just really frees me up, allows me to just kind of go out there and know that I'm not going to be in much pain, and I'm going to be warmed up to hit shots and perform at my highest potential. I have a friend that's on tour, and a lot of times he's changed his routine, and he's like, a lot of my stuff is working out 2-3 times a week now, and a lot more stretching and just being mentally prepared. And that's helped me like raise my level in my game, just knowing that like I'm not stiff, I'm not sore. So, and that mobility workout has allowed me to really change my swing and be able to rotate better and just not feel those aches and pains and practice longer. Granted, I practice a long time and I'm not always in pain, but sometimes I get like these like stiffness in my glutes, and I never really get that anymore, being more mobile and whatnot.
Awesome. Now, I want to touch on something that you mentioned, which was, all things considered, you've probably been one of the most consistent people that I know that I've ever met of doing the power warm-up routine. And since you first learned it a few months ago, you've just continued to do it day in, day out, several times a day. It's really helped your game. And you've mentioned that it's almost meditative in a way. I'd love to dive a little bit more into that. What do you mean by that?
It's weird because like every time I do, like in the mornings, it feels different than when I do it at night. At night, when I think it's more meditative for me, because it's just kind of like it's the end of the day, I'm relaxing down, getting my body relaxed. Done a lot during the day, so I'm just trying to just calm myself down and take a minute to stretch and get ready for bed. Or an Apple Watch, and I use like sleep app on it. And I notice if I miss out on that, my sleep isn't as well that night. So I like, you know what? Let's just keep doing this every night. And it's almost like a way to just calm your brain down and take a minute to yourself and relax and feel good about yourself with your body.
I love that. So let me ask you this. You know, when we first started the 6-week program, the first thing that I have everybody do that comes into the 6-week program, and for anybody watching this, you're more than welcome to do this at home as well, is I asked you, all right, Adam, we're going to sit down, we're going to get a piece of paper, we're going to get a pen, and we're going to look ahead 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now. Where are you going and what is that going to look like? And then we took that future you and we wrote a letter back to your current self saying, okay, this is what, looking back, this is a pretend future self looking back, what is that going to look like? Now, we haven't talked about that letter in detail because it's a private letter and I don't want to get into that. However, now that you're here, 6 weeks later, I'd love to know from the horse's mouth, what would you say to 6 weeks ago, Adam? If somebody was on the fence and they weren't sure if they should do something like this? What does that look like? How would you inspire them? What would you tell yourself 6 weeks ago? And what have you learned about yourself from going through the process?
Well, a lot of it was mobility for me. Notice if you stick to it, doing every day, and every chance you get when you're just sitting there not really doing anything, I became a lot more mobile and flexible through it. And that's been like the main goal for me. Possibly become mentally stronger with our sessions together and talking and whatnot. Like 6 weeks ago, I didn't have that mindset of this is who I am. I'm a champion. I'm going to win. Working on that every day and just doing the small things to make me reach that goal has helped. So that's been huge and the biggest improvement I've seen for the last 6 weeks.
What is Adam 16 weeks from now, after going through this next phase, going to look back and say?
I'm that much better and that much closer to reaching my ultimate goal of playing on the tour or getting a tour card.
I love that. That's something big, and it's really inspiring that you're doing that, because so many people, they have this dream and they won't go for it. So if you were talking to somebody and they were saying something like, yeah, well, there's this thing that I want to do, but I don't know if I can do it, and I don't know, blah, 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 and they have all these excuses, what would you say to them, whether it's golf or not?
Are you going to regret not doing it a month, 2 months, or even a year, 5 years from now? I mean, people are always like, why are you trying to make the tour? Like, it's like an impossible goal. I'm like, it's only possible until you don't try it. I mean, I think it's possible in my mind. You don't have to support me if not. If you're not going to support me, then I don't really care what your opinion is. So if you have an opportunity to do something, go for it. I mean, you only live once. You only get one opportunity most of the time. So why not try to make the most of it?
I love that. How do you structure your days to get the most out of them? Because like you said, time flies and it goes by very quickly. Do you have any kind of structure to how you run your day? You were talking about morning routines, evening routines. I'm sure everybody would love to hear, what does a touring professional's day look like?
So right now, I mean, it's a little dark in the winter, but I try to get up around 6:30 every day and just kind of take a minute to myself, do my warm-up routine, take out my annoying dogs, as you can probably hear them in the background, make sure they're happy. Do that, go to the gym for about an hour and a half. Kind of depends on the day. Lately, I've been a little more basketball just to kind of get some cardio in and work on some explosiveness. I'm there until probably about 8:30, 9. Come home, take the dogs back out again, just so they're not mad at me. And then I get to the golf course around 11:30, noon, and I'm there until it gets pretty much dark out. Throw some lunch in there. But really focus on just practicing when I get there. A lot of times when I get there, I usually go putt first, just because I feel like, putting is usually the most important thing in the game, in my opinion. So I usually start there first, as if I run out of time, at least I want to be able to get my putting in. But lately I've been I need to change it around a little bit just because it's getting a little dark out earlier. So I'm going to probably go practice first and then go work out in the afternoon. So that's kind of like my routines on a summer day, is get up early and get out there.
Sure.
About noon. Winter, I'll probably change it around a little bit and probably take a little more time off just because it's a little colder out. And I think those times off are almost as important as those practice days. A little recharge, reset the body, and just kind of sit back and relax for a little bit, because in your full grind mode all the time, it kind of takes a toll sometimes.
Ooh, I like that. That's something I definitely want to touch on. But before we get into that, to stick on the golf side, for those watching who are like, okay, well, I want to get better. Obviously, you're doing it. You're in the thick of things. You're down in the arena fighting the good fight, trying to follow your dream, make it on tour. When you're practicing, do you have any intentions behind it? What are you trying to get out of it? What are your daily goals? And what are you visualizing as? Because I take it you're not just going out there and beating balls to beat balls. There's something behind it. What is it?
So, I mean, I guess at the same time, it depends. If I'm hitting balls, it depends what I'm working on. Shot and club, hitting a shot or whatnot. But I think the one thing that stays constant when I'm out there is my routine. I think we touched on it earlier, but no matter what I'm doing, I'm going through my full routine and visualizing the shot I want to hit or the putt I want to hit. Being a visual player and trying to make the game as simple as possible, it's routine and visualization. So that's the biggest thing for me, I think, when I'm out there. Even if I'm just hitting balls and banging balls, I'll always go through my full routine, even if it's not like one thing that's specific that I'm working on my swing or something, but it's routine is the biggest thing for me. And that's like the one goal I have out there every day. It's like, all right, you might not hit the ball well, but how's your routine and even your post-shot routine? Like, how are you reacting to that? Like, am I slamming my driver down? Am I slamming my club down? Am I dropping my shoulders? It's really focusing on that, because even though if you don't notice you do it during like your practice, it's going to translate to the golf course. And when you're out there, you don't want to look like a fool slamming a club or throwing a club or cussing up a storm. So for me, like I said, it's all routine based. The languages I use after a shot, that's how I react after a shot. So it's like this is some of it's just routine, post-shot routine, pre-shot routine, everything, visualization, whatnot.
Now, you touched on something really important, which is you want to avoid that burnout. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into preparing to play at such a high level, and it's important to sometimes be able to step away so that you can sharpen the blade and be more effective. What are some of the things that you like to do to kind of sit back and reset and make sure that you have the energy you need to keep going?
Obviously, basketball doesn't help with energy level, but I like to play basketball and just kind of play a different sport almost, get my mind doing something else. If it's not being active, I like to sit and read a lot. I'll go to Starbucks and just plop down in a chair and read for a few hours, or hang out home with my dog, hang out with my girlfriend, go for a hike, go to the zoo, kind of do whatever there is to do around town and just kind of really get my mind off of it. I mean, the more I can think less about golf on a day off, the better my recovery and wanting to just get back out there and grind will be better for me.
Awesome. I love that. So I think a lot of people are under the impression that to play at that level, you have to constantly be pushing and constantly be working. And it sounds like it's more when you are pushing, when you are working, you're 100% committed. But at the same time, when you're not, you can separate yourself from it. And to me, that sounds like exactly what happens in the game of golf, is how can we fully commit to the shot, visualize the shot, and then in between shots, just kind of step back and take in the moment and be aware of your surroundings and make better decisions. That's so cool. On a similar note of kind of resetting and everything, I know we've talked a little bit about just like a general diet and foods that make you feel good and energize you. Are there any go-to foods that you love to eat that you take out on the course that give you sustainable energy so that when you're starting to feel fatigued, you can keep going and keep those energy levels up?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of things I do. I mean, I've got this bar that I really like. I'm trying to think of the name. It's like an RX bar. I get them off Thrive Market. They're a really good bar. They're low sugar and a lot of good nutrients in them. I love to have a couple of those on the golf course. I like to have a little beef jerky stick, and then I pop in a noon tablet usually in the middle of the round. A lot of hydration tablets. And occasionally I'll have a peanut butter jelly sandwich, just kind of where I am, and if I have like the time I make it, and then a banana or two. So I always have like my go-to things that I know, like, all right, this is what my body likes to eat on the golf course, where I don't feel fatigued or tired after eating it. It gives me less energy. And occasionally I choose some gum also. That kind of helps me kind of focus on something else. I mean, I can chew and walk at the same time, but when I'm chewing gum, I just kind of focus on the chewing aspect of it, and kind of helps me get away a little bit from the golf and whatnot, which is kind of cool.
I like that.
Yeah. So bar, jerky, banana, peanut butter jelly sandwich, noon tablets, and sometimes a piece of gum or
And
two.
is that all together, or do you spread that out?
I usually spread it out. Usually I'll eat the bar around hole 3 or a beef jerky stick. And then I'll have that sandwich usually on hole 10 or 11. And then towards the end, I'll have a banana and probably another bar. And then I throw that noon tablet in, just kind of after I finish a water bottle. Usually the first couple holes, if I finish, I'll throw a noon tablet into another one and just kind of throw that in there and sip on that for a few holes. So again, very routine orientated, even with my food. A little psychotic, but gotta do what you gotta do.
You got to do what you got to do. I love that. So let's end with this. 6 weeks went by just like that. It was so quick. I feel like we were just getting started. And before you know it, it's going to be 2020. Right now, at the time of us talking, it's like, what is it, December 9th or something like that. So we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Where is Adam Ruben going to be this time next year, and what is life going to look like?
I have a feeling I'm going to have a tour card. And just playing better golf and feeling more mobile and good about what I'm doing and on my way to becoming a pretty well-known tour player.
I love that. How can people who want to follow your journey find you? If they want to send you good wishes and encouragement, or if they want to send you balls and gloves and clubs, hint, 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 or help you out with getting into events, how do they follow your story?
Well, I have a website. It's called adamrubengolf.com. There's a little bio on there. I update my schedule and how I'm playing. And if y'all want to help out, there's a little link there too to kind of send your support and whatnot. My email's on there. You guys can follow my Instagram page. Can't remember the name of it right now, which is not good. It's Rubes Golf 13.
Okay, perfect.
I post on there photos and where I am. You can direct message me on there. You can follow me on Facebook. If you want to reach out to Blaine and Blaine can give you my contact, that's totally fine too. But all the support is better. Words of encouragement are good. Donating to my dream making tour is also good. So yeah, there's a couple ways you can reach out if you'd like, and feel free to reach out. I'm always like talking to people, and if they need help with anything, I'm always willing to help out. Look at a golf swing or two. I know Blaine knows his game, but if you want another eye, I'm always willing to take a peek. So yeah, that's how you can get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, Adam, I appreciate you taking the time to be here. I know you're a busy guy, and it's just an amazing journey to follow, and I'm sure you're going to be inspiring a lot of people, and it's going to be really fun to watch how your career develops, and then before you know it, we're all going to be like, yeah, I knew Adam before Adam was Adam, and it's going to be so awesome. So I really appreciate it, and you sharing your story with the world, and you and I have some more work to be doing, so I'll be talking to you soon, and I'll let you get on with your day.
Thanks for the help, Blaine. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye.